Hello everybody, hope you're having an awesome day. The holiday season is fast approaching and I've got my mind on two things. The Mandalorian and, in the wise words of J. Jonah Jameson,
I want Spider-Man!
Now, if you're like me, you love the wall crawler. He's my favorite superhero, but his movies have largely been hit or miss. Cue 2020 and the never-ending cycle of crisis after crisis, and you end up here.
Should we be doing this in front of an active volcano?
So what does this have to do with Spider-Man, you ask? Well, it turns out that everything is going absolutely insane. Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire are apparently set to reprise their roles as Spider-Man, alongside Kirsten Dunst as Mary Jane, Emma Stone is set to play Gwen Stacy, while Alfred Molina and Charlie Cox are set to show up as Doc Ock and Daredevil, respectively. Now, this is just a rumor, but it's been heavily implied at this point through constant reporting by major Hollywood insiders that this is the case. The only confirmation we do have at this point is Jamie Foxx returning as Electro, but not his version. What is happening? Alrighty, so let's break all this down. It started back in June that Spider-Man 3 was going to be insane since it had Doctor Strange in it. Fans thought it would be crazy, and reports began to come out that Andrew and Tobey would be back. Fans dismissed this as fan fiction for a live-action Spider-Verse, and decided that the rumors were false. As time went on, though, more and more stars from the previous movie seemed to be in talks to reprise the roles of their old characters, and these stories started to gain traction. The movie itself is rumored to feature MCU Spider-Man running from multiple villains, mainly Kraven the Hunter, as he tries to deal with the fallout of Far From Home. So, as of December 10th, the writing and recording of this, there's 7 actors who were previously involved with Spider-Man who may show up in this movie. To quote the great Michael Scott,
"My God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm.
What's the
Everybody
procedure,
stay
everyone?
calm.
What's the procedure?
Stay calm."
Now, I'm going to briefly run down both the good and the bad of this to be as objective as possible before getting into my own thoughts. Let's start with the bad to get that out of the way first. Spider-Man 3 from 2007 failed to resonate with fans because there were too many villains, the plot was convoluted, and Sam Raimi ultimately was told what to do in the universe he was creating by studio interference. It resulted in the Spider-Man brand tossing and turning for years until being rebooted in 2012, only to fail again as a result of, you guessed it, studio interference. I think what has a good majority of fans worried is the fact that this movie seems to be super crowded and that our Peter Parker Spider-Man won't have his time to shine. I stated in one of my previous videos that I wanted to see a grounded third installment where Peter has to deal with all the crap coming his way and ultimately is a better hero because of it. He needs to get away from being an Iron Man's shadow and emerge as his own hero. It's the only way forward. Okay, now to the good. This could be really good for both Spider-Man and the MCU. Peter would be facing down a threat the likes of which we've never seen before. He will most likely be hunted both by his villains and the law if public opinion has turned against him. Also, I don't think this movie will be the live-action Spider-Verse we think it's going to be. Marvel and specifically Kevin Feige is way too smart to try to jam that all into one movie. Why do I think this, you ask? Just look at his track record with Marvel. He's built it from the ground up and turned it into a multi-billion-dollar franchise over the past decade. It has gone from a niche of comic book nerds to appealing to wider audiences. Just from the limited reports we've had about this movie, aside from the hype of getting the actors to reprise their roles, it seems to be heading in the right direction with Peter and how he views himself as the hero to be the main focal point of the story. Alright, so here's my speculation, y'all. This isn't going to be a Spider-Verse movie. I know that will be a huge letdown to some, but I think it's for the better. Marvel and Sony came to some sort of arrangement in the last couple of months that they have not shared with the public about how these characters will intermingle with one another. Marvel really wants to use Spider-Man, mainly because he's their flagship character, and Sony wants to bring in the mega bucks by partnering with Disney and eventually have Spidey cross over into their own universe. The streaming wars have begun, and I think Sony will ultimately license their movies and TV shows to Disney, because let's be real, Sony is more of an electronics company than a multimedia company like Disney. It just makes too much business sense for them to try and start another streaming service in an already crowded marketplace, unless they have some brilliant new innovation that they are keeping under wraps, which all signs point to them not having. I plan on doing a theory video as to the story of Spider-Man 3 in the coming weeks, something that I have been wanting to work on lately. But what do you guys think? Are you excited for Spider-Man 3 and all the potential cameos? Are you concerned it'll bog down the movie? Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment below. Until next time, Excelsior, and may the Force be with you.